What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, and we are back with another live here on the Torian Ramey Loaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell twice to be notified. Whenever I go live, maybe you'll be notified. I'm going to stop saying that because I truly believe that YouTube, Google, or whoever definitely has me under some kind of a ceiling right now. I don't want to say what I believe it actually is because you can't tell me, and let me go on a little tangent right quick. You can't tell me that I have all these subscribers and it's only 33 people in this live chat right now for what I believe to be one of the most important live streams that I'm doing, not only just this week, but this month, to be quite honest with you. And on top of that, I've been stuck at 71.8 subscribers for the last month and a half, almost 2 months. I kid you not. I know I had mentioned it, what was it, a couple days ago, but I'm mentioning it again right here. I know they're definitely doing something shady. So what I'm gonna need everybody to do in this chat right now, if you haven't done so already, to hit the like button. They are playing with my channel for sure. It's like I can't even sugarcoat it anymore. I know for a fact that they're doing it, and this one is more intense than ones I've dealt with before. I don't know if I said something or whatever the case may be, but maybe maybe since like the beginning of April, that's when I started to notice it. And I was like, oh, maybe it'll go away. But no, it's still here, and we're halfway through the month of May. So I know that they've tampered with it somehow, some way. I don't know how long it's going to last. I even noticed it with the premiere video that I just did. It was a lot, it was a slow burn for people to climb in there. It was even some people I was expecting to see in there that weren't in there. I just had to get that off of my chest a little bit, but something tells me I'm gonna go on another tangent. But anyway, let's see, who do we have in here so far? We have Raphael Bugatti. Well, shout out to you because you was here since last night. And also, if you do send any super chats or cash apps, I would rather you send it to the official Rodney Hinton Jr. Give Send Go. I have it pinned right there at the top. That's the official one. It started by his sister. So if you do any type of donations tonight, I would prefer that you send it to that. He has met his goal. The goal, I believe, was like 20,000. And right now, the last time I saw it, it was at like 42,000 plus. So they have more than surpassed the goal. This is for his legal fees. And trust me, he's going to need it. Let's see who else we have in here. We got Tyson Jackson, Dimple Face, Wallow J, Miss Nisi, Reparations Nations, Den Zemus, Dewani, Black Spider, Raging Woody, Ricardo, Black Spider, Doc Spencer, Dee Phoenix, Lawrence, Tawana, who else is in here? Casey Malone. Yes, thank you, Miss Nisi. This is exactly why I keep telling y'all need to be in the Discord. Some of y'all be like, oh, I don't want to join Discord because it's another app. But then be like, Torian, I didn't know you uploaded it. If you had the Discord, you wouldn't know. And if you're on Patreon, I need to turn the Discord privileges back on for those who are subscribed to the Patreon, because if you're subscribed to my Patreon, then you automatically get Discord privileges. You just have to click it and it'll go right to the Discord page. You just have to have the app in order to actually get in, instead of having to get the link sent to you. It's like right there. I need to turn that back on. I need to remember to do that. I'll probably do that after this live is over. But yes, y'all need to be in the Discord. Even if y'all don't say anything in the Discord, even if I don't even know that you're there, be in there at least to get those notifications for sure, because those will always get sent out. We got and that's another thing too. Make sure y'all are still subscribed to the channel, because sometimes they'll unsubscribe you. Trust me. They will unsubscribe you, especially if you're not active like that. They'll think you're like a I forgot what it's called. I don't want to say a dead account, but basically one that's not active, and they'll unsubscribe you. So definitely make sure that you're still subscribed. Even if you have to go and click unsubscribe and then resubscribe and click the bell again, basically now you're a new subscriber. So it's always going to send you stuff out as a new subscriber. I know, because that's happened to me a couple of times before on other people's channels. We got Scoop 2003. We got who else we got in here? Cosma Fury, Don P. Wallow, I mean, it's reparations is my checking account lets me know each month that I'm still subscribed and a member. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Loves what's going on. And KG is also, and that is it so far. So it's a lot to talk about with this one. This is going to be, I'm going to be honest with you, we might be up here for a little over 2 hours. Why? Because a lot of the videos that I have for the stream are, I think the shortest video is maybe about 5 minutes and some change, and the longest video is like over 30 minutes. And we're going to go through all of that because I have a lot, there's a lot of stuff to discuss when it comes to this topic. I feel like I don't have to give so much of a rundown of what's going on with this, because by this time everybody has pretty much knowledge of what's happened. People have already talked about it as well. It's been talked about mainly by us for like the last week and a half to almost 2 weeks. And it's gotten, from our side at least, it's gotten the type of I guess you can say narrative of support for what Rodney Hinton Jr. did on behalf of his son. Hence why I put I for an I in the thumbnail. Then, of course, you know, you'll have the other side that are completely against what he did, and that's to be expected. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to start here. I tried to put the articles and videos in some kind of sequential order as far as by date. So I wanted to start all the way back to May 4th, when the body cam footage of what happened to Ryan Hinton, who was the son of Rodney Hinton Jr., first went out. So we're going to start right there. And they said this is a frame by frame, and it says that this happened on May 1st, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. This part right here is no sound, but the sound eventually going to kick in. They just doing the frame by frame thing.
He's got a gun. He's got a gun on your right. On your right. He's got a gun. Good. Get the fuck down. Good.
The individual is running with a firearm in his hand. The officer is running, so the body camera is kind of jolting as the officer's running. What that leaves us with is a very blurred image, unfortunately. However, based on the officer's interviews, the officer who did discharge his firearm said that when the individual came out between the dumpsters, he had the firearm in front of him. It was in like a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer. And he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm. So that officer who fired was actually chasing a different suspect when he encountered the individual armed with a firearm. And again, total 6 seconds. So for them to process and determine a different course of action, I think is unreasonable.
So this is the day after the shooting. After reviewing the body camera footage of his son being shot, police say Hinton's father drove his car into a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy, killing him. So this is the look of the car that Rodney Hinton Jr. was driving. And that's why, you know, when he was in court, when he was arraigned, he looked like he was tired and everything like that. That's because he was injured. Like, he was tired. He just wanted rest. He most likely probably he just needed some pain meds or everything like that, and they were just basically just kind of like pulling him around. And that's how his car looked. That is crazy because I didn't realize his car was that messed up like that. Like he ran smack into this pole like this. He was determined. Now, this is a person that when he saw that footage, he literally blacked out. At that point, all he saw was red. He said it didn't matter what cop it was. He said as long as they're wearing a uniform, hey, he said it is what it is. We're going to get to that. Like I said, to everyone in the chat, or those who are just coming in, we got a lot of video to go over. I got some articles mixed in there as well, but we got a lot of video. This is right here is just covering that was going over the body cam and what you just saw right here with the crash. And now this is the part when he's being brought into the courtroom. Now this, when I first saw this, because I think this imagery right here was one of the first things people saw when this story first broke, was him in the courtroom with what looked to me like the entire police department, which never happens, on some intimidation stuff. And they decided they were going to be there to try to make him, I guess, feel scared. But this man, like, look at his face. He came in there. He gave up some of them some eye contact. He stuck his nose up at him like, yeah, I did it. Just like y'all were the ones responsible for taking out my son. I am the one that was responsible for taking one of yours out. And like I said, it was an intimidation tactic they tried to use on him, and it didn't work. And I think that's the part where they were probably, I can only imagine what they were saying in their heads. If I could read minds, I could imagine all the N words they was calling him. I don't know what he was saying to him, but I have like some video that's going to actually show it, and I think it's going to have some sound to it, so you'll be able to hear what he says. Right here is just quiet. So that's pretty much it for that video. So that's just a summary of what was going on up into that point. So now that we're going over, we've done that. Let's go over to our first, I guess you could say, official article, and it's coming from CNN, posted May 6th. 2025. It says Rodney Hinton Jr., whose son was shot dead by police, denied bond and killing of sheriff's deputy after disturbance in court. To that, I'm not even remotely surprised that they denied him a bond. It says Rodney Hinton Jr., who authorities say intentionally hit and killed an Ohio sheriff's deputy with a car after his son was fatally shot by police, will remain in jail without bond while he awaits trial on a murder charge. Hinton Jr. was denied bond at a Tuesday court hearing in Cincinnati. He is charged with aggravated murder for the May 2nd killing of Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson. Now, what I find to be very interesting is even with all of this that's going on, they never released the name of the actual cop that actually killed his son. And after what Rodney did right here and how they see people reacted to what he did, they'll never release his name. And to be honest with you, I don't think they were even planning to release his name, regardless whether Rodney did what he did or not. They were going to always give that cop some kind of protection, regardless, in my honest opinion. He says, there will be an order of remand with no bond. Please assure the safety of the defendant and any mental health treatment that can be granted. The hearing is the latest development in a case that began last week when Cincinnati police shot and killed Hinton Jr.'s son. Police said 18-year-old Ryan Hinton was one of 4 men who were fleeing after officers found him in a stolen car and that he was armed when he ran. And oh, by the way, an update just came out with the 3 other people that was with him. They said that they now have gotten like new charges. I just recently saw it like maybe a good hour before the live. KG says someone might have found it on Twitter. Found what on Twitter? It says Hinton Jr.'s attorney, Clyde Bennett II, entered a plea of not guilty on his client's behalf and requested bail. During Tuesday's hearing, Bennett asked for Hinton Jr. not to be thought of as a, quote, cop killer, but a person with mental illness. So now, his attorney is making the plea of someone who was mentally ill. Let's see if that works, because we know who it works for the most. Well, not even just the most, but for the most part, it works for them every time. But rarely do they ever use it for a black individual. Oh, you said the cop. Okay, I see it. He said, I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he's not in his right mind, and I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person that commits a crime under the auspices, control, and authority of a mental defect in the condition. As the hearing began, a disturbance erupted in the gallery, and Hinton Jr. was rushed out of the courtroom by law enforcement. A man yelled, "I just want my brother to see me." The hearing resumed after the man was escorted out, and Hinton Jr. was brought back into the courtroom. Bennett told Yates that, to his knowledge, the man was not Hinton Jr.'s brother. Prosecuting attorney Ryan Nelson requested the judge deny bail and presented testimony from a Cincinnati police officer who said Hinton Jr. had met with police officers and watched body-worn camera footage of the shooting death of his son on the day of the incident. The Cincinnati Police Department has said his son, Ryan Hinton, appeared to point a gun at an officer while fleeing last week, but the body camera's footage does not clearly capture the moment. And that's what they've said. They said it appeared blurry. So how do you know for a fact that he was pointing a gun at this cop if your camera footage is not even clear to indicate that that is what happened? You're now just going off of assumption, and that's what you're going with. Notice they like to always yell out gun. They have a gun. They have a gun. That way that can give them an excuse to open fire on someone potentially or actually killing them. After the meeting, Officer Carl Beebe said Hinton Jr. left the parking lot of the police building and briefly returned before driving away. Hinton Jr. was very distraught after seeing the footage of his son. An attorney for the family, Michael Wright, told the Cincinnati Enquirer. Beebe then described the fatal collision based on witness statements as well as the video. The vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, and struck the deputy. There was no evidence of skid marks on any other signs indicating Hinton Jr. trying to stop. And this right here is a picture of the deputy that he hit and took out. We believe, based on our investigation, that and the witnesses that we spoke to up to this point, that Hinton left our office and was traveling and came upon Deputy Henderson and made an intentional decision to drive directly at Deputy Henderson and strike him and kill him. On cross-examination by Bennett, Beebe said he would assume Hinton Jr.'s source of the agitation, as Bennett put it, was watching the body camera video. That's what I believe too, because think about it. He watched it. He only looked at it one time. Like once was enough for him. And then he left out and he got in his car and he drove. And this was the next thing that happened. He was clearly upset and he was mad and he was enraged by seeing his son's last moments of life being taken out in the way that he's in the way that he saw it. No parent would want to see something like that. And in his mind, that was the only way that he could respond. And that's how he chose to go about it. Nelson argued Hinton Jr. in his current state is a giant mental health question mark, has clear and present danger, and poses substantial risk of physical harm to law enforcement officers and to the public, as evidenced by his conduct. While Bennett pointed out that Hinton Jr. lacks any previous felony conviction, lives in the area, and has family ties, the judge ordered him to be held without bond. I find it very difficult to figure out how there would be any decision based on what they said would be to protect the public and the defendant under these circumstances. And it says Hinton's next court date is on May the 12th, which of course has already passed. But like I said, we got the video stuff, so we'll be able to see what happened on those days. Because I find it very interesting, because we saw the body cam and it was clear when he was driving and even when he got out of the car. Now, how did it get blurry once you got to Ryan Hinton and it blurred up? Like, I'm not going to play it again, but for those who saw it, it looked like the first part of it was in like HD. Like, it was very clear. But then you got to the part where he shoots his son, then that's when it gets blurry. I find that very, very suspect. So there's the that's that article right here. Now what we're about to do is we're about to get into the first video. And this is coming from, where is this coming from? Fox 19. And it's called Chaos Inside Courthouse Disrupts Hearing for Deputies Accused Killer. I think we already know what this is going to entail, but we're going to go ahead and play it and see what they're talking about. I think this right here might be the shortest video out of all of them that I'm going to play for y'all this evening.
As he is walking into the courtroom right now, if we're going to be able to take this live at this moment.
Can I have a seat? Can I have a seat? Sit down.
Okay, so let's try to armchair quarterback what we believe is going on here right now. So Hinton was escorted by police from Claremont County into the courtroom right here. There was some sort of commotion right outside, with police officers then quickly escorting Hinton back out, likely for his own safety. His attorney remaining in the courtroom there with the judge. So this, of course, the man accused of hitting and killing that retired sheriff's deputy, making his no bond appearance. Okay, now we're listening outside.
So obviously words being exchanged right there between...
Words that we can't put on TV, so we need to kill the mic there for just a little bit.
Right, but you're still taking a live look. So this is just outside, kind of giving you a perspective here. This is just outside of Room A. So this is down in the Hamilton County Courthouse there. You can see, obviously, a number of sheriff's deputies. They were there on Saturday lined up. They're there today lined up as well. And now at this point, obviously, you know, folks very emotional over this case.
Very high in this.
So they did have to remove Hinton at this point. And if you recall, Hinton actually, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is being housed in the Claremont County Jail because of security reasons, because of these tensions that are likely, I mean, still occurring. This is a live look. This is not even recorded video. This is what we're looking at live. So obviously what they're going to have to do, at least remove the people who are getting too emotional right now. However, I'm not sure if they're then going to bring Hinton back.
They may. I believe that, you know, this is very classic police work, what they're doing here. You notice the officers remaining calm. It's a very tense situation, trying to allay any fears of anyone involved here, and likely escorting that gentleman out of the hallway so they can speak with him further and try to de-escalate the situation here and calm everybody down so they can move forward with what is a legal proceeding, the no bond.
Okay, so there you have that right there. Let me just say something. I've been to a courthouse plenty of times. Well, not plenty of times, but when I had to do, or they wanted me to do jury duty, and I have never seen that many cops there at one time in my life, the times that I've gone there before. I don't know about y'all, but I've never seen it. That's just me. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely an intimidation tactic for sure. So the next thing we're going to go over, and this is going to be one of the longer videos I was telling y'all about right here. This was posted on Law and Crime. On what day was this? May 6th. It says Ohio man murdered deputy day after police shot his son. So this right here is going to be the entire situation that you saw in that previous clip from the news room. This is going to be the whole thing right here. 28 minutes and 13 seconds, but it's also going to have some other things in there as well, as I'm kind of like looking through it. So strap in, everybody. We going to be here for a while.
Chaos at court as a man accused of killing a sheriff's deputy a day after his son was shot by a police officer asked to be released on bail. I lay out the horrific chain of events out of Ohio and where the case could be heading.
Are you familiar with the acts of someone that is not in their right mind when they commit a criminal act?
I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Before I get into this case out of Ohio, I want to talk a little bit about true crime news and law and crime merch. The law is in Cincinnati doing special details. Last Friday, he was doing that, directing traffic for graduation at the University of Cincinnati when police say a man named Rodney Hinton Jr. deliberately drove his vehicle into Henderson at this intersection.
I'm speeding it up, y'all, basically for time, because like I said, it's a 28-minute video.
Deputy Henderson was rushed to the local trauma center, but there was nothing that could be done to save him. Within hours, he passed away from these devastating injuries. You're probably asking yourself, why would anybody deliberately drive a vehicle into somebody, much less a sheriff's deputy who was directing traffic at a college graduation? Well, police say Rodney Hinton Jr. did this on purpose, possibly to avenge the death of his son, Ryan Hinton. Ryan Hinton was 18 years old, and a day earlier, a Cincinnati police officer shot and killed him after encountering him and some others in a car that had been reported stolen out of Kentucky. Here's the police chief.
Officers across the country confront dangerous situations every day, sometimes more than once a day. They are often compelled to make split-second decisions to protect others and themselves when faced with immediate threats. Yesterday was one of those occurrences. Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. When this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. No one wins, and everyone involved is affected.
Police Chief Teresa Thigi outlined what occurred. It's something the Cincinnati Police Department does within 24 hours of an officer-involved shooting taking place.
Where the incident occurred is at the dead end of the parking lot back here. You'll see vehicles there now. You'll see a photo of the stolen car that we're going to talk about is backed into a parking spot back there. As you can see, this is a stolen Kia, stolen out of northern Kentucky yesterday. You can see we have two uniformed cars there. Prior to those uniformed cars arriving, we had two undercover cars that pulled into that dead end, saw the vehicle. They backed out. They saw that there were individuals inside the vehicle, so they backed out and let the uniformed cars make the approach, which is the tactically.
I'm not too familiar with the not demographics, the geographics of Cincinnati to Kentucky. But can someone in the chat let me know what the distance is between Kentucky and Cincinnati? Because the way they're making it sounds like they're close. So if anybody lives in or around the Cincinnati, Ohio area, or can let me know what the distance is, I would greatly appreciate it.
Sound decision to do. The cars are positioned the way the officers are trained. We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time.
Chief Thigi then played a short portion of the body camera footage.
This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
He's got a gun on your right.
His jacket pocket.
Okay, so it's just okay. It's close. Okay, thanks for telling me, y'all.
And that is the magazine from that second magazine. This is another firearm that was located inside the stolen vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime early yesterday morning. Approximately, we believe, based on timelines, this was stolen from a vehicle in northern Kentucky, and then they went on to steal the vehicle that's involved in the incident.
I want to tell you about a free app that I've tried.
It's called God, we ain't trying to hear about your stuff. So now they're saying that the car was stolen, and apparently the gun was stolen as well. This is going to be one interesting case. I'm telling you right now. This is going to be an interesting case. A case as far as with Rodney Hinton Jr. That's going to be one case in and of itself. But then the others that was in that car, that's going to be a whole separate case as well. This is going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out, because I have a feeling there's going to be more loopholes in this thing than Swiss cheese.
Met with Ryan Hinton's family, including his father, Rodney Hinton Jr.
On Friday morning, we met with the police chief of Cincinnati, and we viewed the body cam video of what happened with the police-involved shooting with Ryan. We stayed at the chief's office for about an hour and a half, and what we saw was disturbing. The family was upset, as you can imagine. Watching your son, watching your grandson, watching your loved one getting shot and killed by the police was upsetting to this family. We left out of the police chief's office, and a few hours later, I was made aware that Rodney had an incident with a police officer that resulted in the officer's death. But again, we are here because we represent the estate, and the police-involved shooting.
Rodney Hinton left the meeting with the police chief, and sometime after that is when police say he intentionally drove his vehicle into Deputy Larry Henderson. A probable cause affidavit states a Hamilton County Sheriff's Office deputy was standing on the sidewalk at the corner of the intersection outside of the lanes of travel where he was engaged in traffic control. The deputy was wearing a uniform and a fluorescent traffic vest. Based on witness statements and evidence at the scene, the defendant drove across oncoming lanes of traffic through the intersection and directly at the deputy, who was struck by the vehicle, causing injuries to the deputy. That intersection near the University of Cincinnati's campus has flowers and blue ribbons decorated in memory and in honor of Larry Henderson, a man who was simply working a detail directing traffic for the University of Cincinnati's graduation. He worked at a different agency, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, than the police officer who shot Ryan Hinton. Larry Henderson had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to Ryan Hinton. On Monday, Ryan Hinton's family stood with their lawyers, distancing themselves from what Ryan's father is accused of doing, intentionally murdering Deputy Henderson.
We're here because we represent the estate of Ryan. We're not here to talk about the incident that occurred with the police officer. We do offer our condolences to the officer and his family. But we were hired to represent this family to investigate the police-involved shooting of their son, Ryan. This family is very upset about what occurred. We believe that this incident should be investigated. It's not as cut and dry as this officer should have just pulled out his gun and shot at Ryan. It's not that cut and dry. So that's why we're doing the records request. We're going to analyze frame by frame each one of these videos to determine why the officer made that deadly decision to shoot and kill Ryan.
Ryan Hinton's grandfather, the father of Rodney Hinton, also spoke.
I'm gonna give a condolences out to the officers that got hurt, got killed, my whole family. I'm asking for forgiveness, and I've been praying hard for the officer that killed my grandson.
Hold on, y'all. I was about to go in and I had the whole mic muted. Let me start over again. Get this man off the mic. This is Rodney Hinton Sr. This is Rodney's dad and Ryan's grandfather talking about some forgive. What did he? I'm not gonna repeat it. About the officer that just killed your grandson. Well, it seems to me that did not pass down to his son. Clearly, as you can see why we're all here today. Get off the mic. Just stand to the side. Go to the side. Because what is there to forgive? You just lost your grandson in a very tragic way. And you want to stand at this microphone in front of your family and these reporters who can take that and do what they want with it. No, KG. He said I offer my condolences to the cop's family that his son took out. Then he said something. You know what? Let me run it back just a little bit just so you can hear it.
Investigated. It's not as cut and dry as this officer should have just pulled out his gun and shot at Ryan. It's not that cut and dry. So that's why we're doing the records request. We're going to analyze frame by frame each one of these videos to determine why the officer made that deadly decision to shoot and kill Ryan.
Ryan Hinton's grandfather, the father of Rodney Hinton, also spoke.
I'm gonna give a condolences out to the officers that got hurt, got killed.
Okay, there's the condolences he offers to the cop that was killed, that his son ran over. That was that part, but listen to the next part.
My whole family, I'm asking for forgiveness, and I've been praying hard for the officer that killed my grandson.
Asking for forgiveness for the cop that killed my grandson. Why? You could have left that part out. And I think what really gets me is the fact that this just happened. You are still in the grieving period right here. You don't even know who the cop is that did it. The public still doesn't know who did it. And you want to get out there in front of your family, in front of these cameras and all these reporters, and that's what you want to say. That's why I said it must not have been passed on from him to his son. And that's why I said clearly.
I've been praying hard for him and his family. I know he's hurting off.
They should not have gave him the mic.
As I seen in the video of my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's unfortunate.
The officer scared and your grandson scared. And what officer are you talking about here? Are you talking about the one that took out your grandson?
Incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No, what I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too. So that's what I seen. So
that's what you seen. Sir, we all saw the same footage as you did. Are you trying to sit up here and say that you saw something completely different than what we saw?
It's not about revenge or anything. That had nothing against nobody. You know, my Lord and Judge, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And
we're not going to get through this, y'all. We're not going to get through this. He done invoked, as the 1LV said, 1LV, I can't get my words together. As the 1LVZ would say, Sky Daddy. I appreciate it, Denzel. I hope you're subscribed.
Represent him. So with that said, please, everybody, just try to forgive everybody who done anything to anybody.
Rodney Hinton.
Oh, God. Let's continue. Let's push on, y'all. We got a lot to go through.
Jr. appeared in court over the weekend following his arrest on an aggravated murder charge. A wall of Larry Henderson's colleagues surrounded him. Hinton muttered something about being gone forever. Hinton was moved to a jail in a neighboring county.
So that's what he was saying. I told you we was going to eventually hear what he said. He said something about forever.
He was back in court asking for bail, and things got heated in the gallery when his brother attempted to contact him by knocking on the courtroom glass.
Can I have a seat? Have a seat, sir. Sit down.
Rodney Hinton was rushed out of the courtroom as his brother was escorted out of the gallery. Shortly thereafter, court resumed, with Hinton's lawyer asking for bail for him and entering a not guilty plea on his behalf.
Judge, I'm going to waive probable cause as a result of being acquainted with the case. I'm waiving probable cause.
Thank you so much.
And the reason why Rodney is so fidgety, and you saw his lawyer right there just kind of whisper to him, but you know, with the mics on, you can hear everything. He said, calm down. It's because he's in pain. Like, you saw the car. This man is in pain. He has not, since that accident, he really hasn't had any rest or any real medical attention. So imagine having been in an accident, like, you know, your car looks like that after what you did, and you're having to stand there in front of this courtroom, in front of this judge with all these cops around and all these lights and these cameras, and people are in one ear and the other ear and in your face behind your back, and you have to stand there and be in pain. Or maybe they gave him some pain meds and he's tired and he's struggling to stand up. What's going on, Tamaris? And again, shout out to everybody that's here. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And also the Give, Send, Go for Rodney is pinned at the top. I would rather you, if you do want to contribute anything to this live, contribute it to that tonight. That is the official one that was started by his sister.
Is there a plea this morning?
There's a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Plea of not guilty, but you enter a plea of not guilty. And thank you. And
I would say on the basis of insanity. Let's go with that, because I think that's what his lawyer is trying to get, is on the basis of insanity.
And as to bond, the state has requested a hearing on the issue of bond or bail. You may be aware of that.
I am aware of that.
Who would like to proceed?
I'm proceeding, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, a detective testified about what happened that day.
Tell me what he did after he stopped.
So based on witness statements as well as the video, the vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic when there was no longer traffic to obstruct. his travel, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic, went to the left of those little stanchions that are in the middle of the roadway, into the oncoming lanes, through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, struck Deputy Henderson and the metal utility pole on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Okay. Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
And is that the conclusion that our accident reconstructions have come to at this point?
At this time, yes.
Okay. And does it appear from your review of the video that he headed straight for Deputy Henderson?
Yes.
And did any of the multiple witnesses that you spoke to and the people that were in the vehicles that were surrounding him, the people that were on scene, did anyone indicate that any attempt to slow down or deviate his path straight to Deputy Henderson?
No, everybody said that he accelerated and was traveling at a high rate speed all the way up until the time that he struck Deputy Henderson.
Okay. And when he struck Deputy Henderson, was the deputy injured?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened after he struck Deputy Henderson?
Deputy Henderson was launched several feet through the air. He came to rest in a turn lane several feet from where the...
I can only imagine what's going through his head right now. I can only imagine what's going through his head, because you got to think his whole world turned upside down from the time of this in the last 48 hours. In like 2 days, his life has literally been in shambles. I mean, from losing his son, then having to watch the body cam footage of his son being gunned down in that way, to him blacking out and getting in that car and driving through and hitting that cop, crashing into that pole, briefly having a stay at the hospital for only literally a minute, then being brought back from the hospital to the courtroom to have to stand there right there. And you can tell that he has a lot going on right now in his head. Mentally right now, he is not well. He is not well mentally right now. It's like 1 minute you look like he looks like it's almost like he wants to break down. But the thing is, here's the real thing of it. He's going through all of this right now, and he can't even properly grieve for his son that he just lost about 48 hours before. And he feels like he has to hold it together on behalf of his son. I don't know if Rodney has any other kids, but he has to hold it together for his son who is no longer here and his family. When I'm sure all he wants to really do is probably just break down and cry. But he knows that in his mind, he can't do it. And shout out to Church for being a member of the church. I thought you was already a member. I don't know why it says new member, but shout out to you regardless.
Rodney Hinton's defense attorney then questioned the detective.
Just first of all, I would like to offer on behalf of the Hinton family and myself, prayers to the Hinton family, prayers to the family of Larry Henderson, the fallen deputy, and I thank the court for having a fair assembly in the courtroom today. With that, I'd like to ask you a few questions, not a lot. Okay. You said that Mr. Hinton left the police station around 12:30. CIS.
He initially left around 10:30.
Came back and then left again.
And then returned a couple hours later, yes.
And you said that individuals that know Mr. Hinton, his family members, were saying that he appeared to be agitated, upset, and so forth, correct?
Yes.
And you don't know the source of that agitation or that distraught, do you? If you know, you might not. I don't think you do, but you have to answer the question.
The source of the agitation?
Yes.
Well, I would assume it was because of I believe it was because of the video and the reason that he was at CIS.
Do you know the mental history of Mr. Hinton?
No, I do not know detailed mental history.
Right. Do you know whether or not he's had any medically documented infirmities or conditions? Do you know that? You don't, do you?
No, I do not.
After bond was denied, the sheriff gave a brief statement.
He was a 33-year career deputy for our department. He retired approximately 5 months ago, and he continued to serve under oath, and he was directing traffic that day at what would have been a very, very joyous occasion for the University of Cincinnati graduates. Unfortunately, you know what unfolded, and we have lost Larry. Larry has been a deputy who has been so extraordinary. We've retired his badge number. Badge number 129 will be retired. Larry touched so many lives in this organization because he was a trainer, because he worked in so many specialized units. And Larry was very animate about the fact that he stay on the front line. He did not wish to take exams to be promoted because Larry's service was on that front line. And I have to tell you, that is bravery extraordinaire. When deputies decide that they want to be out there facing every day to day, that's a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice for his family, and they have made the ultimate sacrifice.
I want to bring in Ken Kober. He is the president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Cincinnati.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. And the reason why I said that is because she said the FOP. Now, I have not heard that term in a long time. If y'all been subscribed to my channel for years, and when I say for years, I'm talking about before the pandemic, I have done commentaries about the Fraternal Order of Police and how I truly believe they are a gang. Oh my God, when she said the Fraternal Order of Police, now I already know for a fact they got a bias. I don't know what this man is going to say, but I'm familiar with them based on things I've heard and researched about them, and not just in certain chapters, but across the nation as a whole. So for those of y'all who don't know what the Fraternal Order Police is, I'm going to just say, I'm going to sound like Jason Black right quick. Look it up.
Ohio. So Ken, this is a shocking turn of events. We have a young man who was in an officer-involved shooting. He was killed by a Cincinnati police officer on a Thursday.
And also, before we go in, I didn't mean to pause it so soon, but also peep this. Whenever the Fraternal Order Police is mentioned, or you see someone who is a representative of them, notice it's always a white face attached to it, and it's usually a white man. I rarely ever see a white woman being a spokesperson for the FOP. It's usually a white man. But that just shows you right there. And I mean, and not just in one location, but in every location. If you don't believe me, just go online and look up Fraternal Order Police and look up their chapters and look who is running those chapters in everyone, in every state that has it. You'll notice a pattern. And then while you're at it, look into their background. And I'm sure you're going to find at least one shady situation that they were involved in.
Thursday, and then the next day, police say that his father, and it sounds like intentionally, mows down a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy who's directing traffic at a college graduation. So it's a pretty shocking turn of events.
Yeah, it's been a terrible. Thursday was a tragedy. Then an officer had to defend his own life, and then on Friday to have a sheriff's deputy murdered simply directing traffic for a graduation is it's unthinkable.
I know you put out a pretty strong statement after Larry Henderson passed away from being hit by this vehicle, and you were calling for the prosecutor to pursue the death penalty in the.
Look at that. When she said he let a strong statement out, I knew it was going to be intense. And what did she just say? Calling for the death penalty for Rodney Hinton Jr. And I think I have an article about that, and we're going to go over that after this. And I may not have to if they go into detail with this.
In this case. So it sounds like you believe that this was no accident. You believe that this was intentional. Tell me what you know about this that leads you to believe that.
Absolutely. You know, our traffic unit and our homicide unit work together. And through the course of their investigation, they determined that this absolutely was an intentional act. And yes, I am absolutely standing with, I think, every other law enforcement officer in this county that expects the prosecutor to pursue the death penalty in this case.
The lawyer for Ryan Hinton's estate, for the son, said that the father, Rodney Hinton, had been in a meeting with Cincinnati police. And for people who maybe aren't aware of this, there's a longstanding collaborative agreement in the city of Cincinnati where, there was a history many moons ago, years ago, of some police involved shootings involving young African-American men. The federal government came in. There's this agreement where now Cincinnati police, within 24 hours, if there's an officer-involved shooting, they say, this is what we know. They try to be very open with the public and present what they can about the investigation. And before that happened, apparently, they were having a meeting with the family of Ryan Hinton and showing them this body camera footage of what happened. And the family of Ryan Hinton, or the lawyers for Ryan Hinton, said the father left that meeting very angry. And apparently after this meeting is when Mr. Henderson, the deputy, Larry Henderson, was run down by Rodney Hinton. So do you know anything more about what may have happened in that meeting or any of the details about that?
The police department does a fantastic job being transparent and getting this information out as soon as they can when a critical incident occurs. And that also includes meeting with the family. The chief goes over with them, if there's body camera footage of what occurred, how things occurred. And while I understand that, the father was upset, there's absolutely no excuse to go and murder a police officer who had nothing to do with this, to murder anybody. Like I said, I understand emotions were running high. My understanding that there was some kind of confrontation that occurred there. I wasn't there for it. And then apparently at some point he stormed off. And then, of course, that led to just more tragic events.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about the investigation? What has been revealed through that traffic investigation? You said the traffic unit. What's come of that? I mean, were there some statements made by Rodney Hinton where did he say something about, I did this on purpose, or, an eye for an eye? I mean, what happened?
I'm not going to get into too much of the investigation and what they have, evidence they have, but I can tell you all the evidence pointed towards this absolutely was an intentional act. And then that was, in my opinion, only further proven when at his arraignment Saturday morning, showing absolutely zero remorse whatever for what happened.
Tell me, Ken, if you would, how much of an impact, how difficult has this been for the law enforcement community there in Cincinnati, Ohio?
And this is why they did the intimidation thing when they were saying in the courtroom and they were all there when it didn't need to be all of them there. And they was expecting him to come in with his head bowed and not looking or giving them eye contact. He looked at every last one of them that he could get his eye contact with, and had his head held high, his chest puffed out, and was like, "Yep." He basically was telling them in physical form, without so many words, like, "I want y'all to look at the guy that took out one of yours because you took out my son. And it may not have been you individually who did it, but you wear that uniform. I see you all the same way." At that point, when he saw that video footage, however mentally he was feeling before that point, before that time, is gone. This is how you take someone who probably was the good guy and thrust them into their villain era, their villain arc, just like that. And you got to think, Rodney heard about what happened to his son before he saw the footage. So he already felt some type of way before he saw his son's last moments alive. Him seeing his son gunned down in that way was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's why you see the person before you in that courtroom and how he was acting towards those cops when he saw them as he was being carried in there.
Having a deputy, I mean, this was a retired deputy working a traffic detail at a college graduation and he retired in December, is my understanding. So this is an off-duty detail that he's working, and he's just working the traffic, thing, and he's run down. I mean, what has this been like for the police officers there in the Cincinnati area?
Quite honestly, it's terrible. It's infuriating. It's sad. That a deputy who's there directing traffic, running a light for an occasion, which should be a fantastic occasion. You got a bunch of University of Cincinnati students that are graduating. Should be a time to celebrate. Instead, it's nothing but a time of tragedy. From the first officer that responded, that had to try to administer CPR, to the deputies that all are on scene, to our traffic unit or homicide unit, everybody that's been involved with this. It's just an absolute, just seeing the evil that society has is something that has been very hard to deal with. And of course, we had the flying pig this weekend. Officers had to go right back to putting a uniform on as they're trying to process what occurred, to go in and protect the public, because that's what we're sworn to do. It's something that it's certainly going to be very, very difficult to get us through this process.
Mm-hmm. And it's my understanding too that Larry Henderson, I mean, this is somebody who had a wife, and I was reading last night too that I believe he was fostering some very young children.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute fantastic person. Had a fantastic career in the sheriff's department, and then retired and decided that still wanted to be involved. So he became a special deputy that, their primary function is to work off-duty details where, on-duty people aren't available. Just to make some extra money in retirement, to be able to take care of his family further, the kids that he has. And it's just something that is absolutely senseless that never should have happened.
Do you expect that the prosecutor, I know you can't speak for the prosecutor, but do you expect that they will? I mean, do you believe that Connie Pillich, the newly elected Hamilton County prosecutor, will seek the death penalty in this case?
Well, the statement that she's made already is that she is going to throw the full force of the law to this defendant. And under the full force of the law would mean that she's going to pursue the death penalty. She certainly hasn't made any statements saying that yet, but that is something that myself and every other police officer in this tri-state area expect that is going to happen.
And here's the thing right here. See what he just said. He wants him to get the death penalty so bad. Now here's the kicker. Let's say the judge does not put the death penalty on the table. You better keep an eye on him and those others that want it. Because I'm telling you, they are going to try to do something. They're going to try something. So we're going to need to put a pin in that and see what it's all going to boil down to when it's all said and done.
Ken, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think it is important to note that through this tragedy, though, the outpouring of support from the community, as you saw, the officers working the Flying Pig, the Reds were in town this weekend, has been incredible. I know there's been a lot of keyboard warriors that have had threats towards the police and things like that on social media. But when
not keyboard warriors,
you see people face to face, the good people in this community, elected leaders that have reached out to give condolences, is something that at least there's been at least something good that has come out of this. But we fully expect that he will be prosecuted. And like I said, I will be doing everything in my power to make sure that the death penalty is pursued.
Look at that. Everything. This guy is on a tangent. He said, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure he gets the death penalty. Y'all better keep an eye on this dude right here. I don't care if y'all got to put get a screenshot or whatever the case may be, run this playback and whatever. This guy wants Rodney's head. Yes, brother, man, you heard that correctly. He said, I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure he gets the death penalty.
And I know that you had told me before we started that you knew Larry Henderson just a little bit. You didn't know him well, but you did know him a little bit.
Yeah, just see him in passing. I mean, it's kind of hard when you work in Cincinnati, especially when we work with the sheriff's department and somebody that was involved in as many things as he was. It's kind of hard not to cross paths with a lot of the sheriff's department. They're a fantastic group of guys. And as I was talking to some deputies last night that knew him very, very well, that were really good friends with him. I mean, just the stories that they're telling, it just speaks volumes of the character of him and how well loved he was and how much he's really going to be missed.
It's just a tragedy. It's just awful. Well, Ken Kober, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me.
Yep.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of that. And shout out to everybody that's in the chat because y'all are going in right now. And I'm glad that y'all are here. Again, if y'all haven't done so, hit the like button and also hit the link that's pinned at the top. That is the official Give, Send, Go for Rodney Hinton. So now that we've gone through that, the next thing we're going to go over is the footage of where they brought Rodney to the courthouse. Now, like I said, we saw the footage of when he was already there, but this one is going to be footage of when he was brought there. And I think this is also the video that has the black cop that gets in the elevator with him. I know a lot of people was talking about that. So we're going to go ahead and go over this now. Let me make sure that I adjust the playback speed so we can speed this up because this is 21 minutes. This is also being hosted by the same person. And shout out to Dana for the one hundo. Preach, Mr. Rain. I appreciate you, Dana. Make sure y'all put some 100 emojis in the chat for Dana in this great, awesome super chat that she just donated with me. Dana, I would have actually preferred if you would have donated to the Give, Send, Go, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is. I don't know if you got my memo before you hit the cash app. I mean, not the cash app, the super chat, but either way, I appreciate it. So let's see what they're talking about on here.
That's Rodney Hinton Jr., person based in the state of Ohio, and it's possible that prosecutors could pursue the death penalty against Rodney Hinton. Police say Hinton intentionally drove his car into...
Let me skip. I'm just kind of skipping ahead because we already went over that part right here. So we're going to start it right here. So this is, it looks like he's in the interrogation room. He looks like he has a hospital gown on. He has handcuffs on. He's handcuffed to the table, I believe. And he has his head down and he has his hand over his head like he's in pain. Patricia, what you just wrote in the chat, that's exactly how I interpret it. That's why you got to keep an eye on him because he sounds like he's out for blood.
Time for him to be taken to jail after being charged with aggravated murder.
We're gonna get you where you're going. Okay.
So this is the part right here, y'all, that everyone was talking about where he gets into the elevator. It's this because I know he had this on. I remember seeing this guy there as well. Philadelphia said this is right after the crash. Okay, that makes sense because again he has on the hospital gown.
Can you stand up for me, sir?
Now notice the black cop is not there. He's not there at this point.
I'll put this around your waist. Are you able to stand on your own? Walk up here. Here, use this hand to hold you. I'm gonna put this hand in a cuff.
The world can be a really unpredictable and scary place.
Oh,
and that's
God.
All right, I'm gonna put this other hand in a cuff.
Does it look like he can stand on his own? The man just was in a car accident where he crashed into a pole. He's in pain. He just got pulled. He was just in the hospital. Does it look like he's in any case, like he can literally like just get up and just walk up out of there on his own?
I'm gonna double walk him, okay? Need to rotate this right around.
I got that walk as well, sir. This one.
Okay, I appreciate it, Dana. Okay, let me run it back right quick because I think that was the cop. Okay, this I think this is him right here. I believe this is him. Keep an eye on this guy right here because I believe this is the black cop that got into the elevator. He wasn't even supposed to be on that elevator, by the way. And there's the moment right there that everybody's talking about. This is that viral clip right here. Kind of, but I wanted to get the whole thing right here when he got on. Denzel said the black officer noticed something was not right. He said they're about to set them up in the elevator. Why would you want to handcuff him up front? I noticed that he has on those blue gloves, but the black cop, I'm trying to think I think he does have gloves on, but they're not blue. I have to see his hands. But he got on there and he just stood there and was like, I know y'all upset about what happened, but we gonna do this by the protocol. Y'all not about to do like some shady stuff, and I don't know what's going on. Okay. So he doesn't have any gloves. I thought he did. It looks like maybe it's his hand. I think like his hand is maybe in his pocket or something like that. And I noticed something too when I saw this clip for the first time. Notice how this is like a very awkward thing right here. It looks very, very awkward because he's standing right there, and it's funny because also notice how he's standing. So you have the guy right there next to him with the tie on. You have the two cops standing on the side of Rodney. Then you have the other cop right there who's recording it. And you have the black cop that is making sure that he's facing in their direction so he can see them. He does not have his back turned for 1 second, the whole ride, that whole elevator ride. He's making sure that he can see them and that they can see him. That he can see them and they can see him. And I'm noticing something too. Notice he's tapping his fingers on, I don't know what that is, but he's tapping his fingers there too. I forgot what they call that, but it's like, it's almost, I think it's like a nerve thing of like, almost like I'm trying to, let me contain myself right quick because I just know something could pop off right now. Or they're, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking a little too much into it, but I just noticed the thing with him tapping his fingers. Tony said cops he has to stand that way because his hands are cuffed in the front. Okay. Well, thanks for that information.
That's about to blow.
Yeah.
The deputies then load Hinton into the van for the trip to the jail in that neighboring county. It's Claremont County.
All right, easiest way is just turn around and slide in.
Face me and then sit down on the side.
Yeah, swing your leg around. You help.
Less than an hour later, Rodney Hinton arrives at the jail.
And by the way, y'all, for those who was like trying to figure out why it was blurred in that moment right there, like why it was like real light and blurred, that's because Rodney, you know, again, he has the hospital gown on in the back. It's not all the way secure. I mean, it's tied, but not all the way. So because they don't want, you know, body parts exposed, that's why they blurred that. I just wanted people to know what that was, just in case people had any questions about that.
You want to hold yourself up there? I'm going to ask you some questions, all right? You have a serious medical or mental health issue that needs immediate attention? Is that a yes or a no? Have you recently considered attempted suicide? No. You want to hurt yourself or anybody else? No. Currently taking an addictive substance on opioid therapy? Heavy radiation and chemotherapy the past 6 months? You have a pacemaker? You have anything on you that will cut us or stick us? You have anything on you at all? Okay. We're going to pat you down real quick. Have you ever been here before? No. What all you got going on? I see you got the hospital gown. You're in Claremont County, but we've been taking you. You ever lift this foot up so I can feel the bottom of your foot?
I'm going to skip that part.
Good. We're going to start taking these restraints off of you. I'll have you put your hands up on the counter, okay?
I need you to lift your left foot up a little bit so I can get this shackle off you.
That's what, point mommy, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What can he possibly hide? He's in a hospital gown. I'm sure that whatever he had on him, they already confiscated when he went to the hospital. What else could he possibly hide? And I'm sure he probably was cuffed to the bed while he was there. So that's a good question. What could he possibly be hiding? And notice too, he's really out of it, because remember, like before I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, he was asking where he was at because he didn't know where he was at, and they had to tell him where he was at. Like you're in this county at this facility.
Right.
Turn on the side.
I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit now. So now he's out of the hospital gown, and now he's into the orange attire. I almost say jumpsuit, but it's not exactly a jumpsuit because he has it's pieces. So he has it's like a button up. And he looks like he has a shirt underneath it and some pants. So it's not exactly a jumpsuit. Exactly, Ms. Nisi. He's definitely clearly out of it. Oh, Casey said that they have information for anyone who wants to put money on his books. They said Rodney Hinton, Claremont County. This is his booking number, 202-5130-81086. That's his birth year. August 10th, 1986.
All right. Let's go back this way, sir.
I got plenty.
All right, so we're gonna skip around a little bit again. So now we're getting to the part where now he got transported to the courtroom. So now you see where he it was a journey. It started off in the interrogation room, him in his hospital gown, then transported through the elevator, then a pat down, then he's asked questions even though he's clearly out of it. And then they changed him into his orange attire, and now he's at the courthouse. So again, we're just kind of jumping around a little bit.
What's your head? Grab this arm. Yeah, take a moment, stretch out.
Watch your head, watch your head. All the shoulders that you got. Ready? Take your time, take your time. Ready?
Is there a case that's going to be called?
Your Honor, Rodney Hinton.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett, at the
Like, look at this. Look at this. Oh, Oshaya, or forgive me if I mispronounce your name. To give to the Gifts and Go is pinned at the top. That is the official Gifts and Go for Rodney. It was started by a sister. Or in Casey Malone, if you can place it again, because I can't pin it. The number, his booking number, if you want to put money on his books, that's also, I think the number was 202-5130. Claremont County. But look at this, though. Look at this imagery. Look at their faces as he walks in. Every eye is locked in on him. Like a lamb being led to slaughter.
The prior hearing before today.
Have a seat, sir.
And that's the part right there. You see where the person knocked, his brother knocked on the window, and that's when the cop came up and started to grab him, and then that's when that whole commotion happened right there. That's where it started at. You saw what happened? He knocked on the window, and the cop just came up there and just like aggressively, like he didn't have to aggressively grab him like that. He could have just like, sir, can you step back from the glass? And that would be it. That's why his brother reacted the way that he did, because you just came and just grabbed him. And then you wonder why. You wonder why. I'm going to just leave it right there. Y'all can fill in the rest of that statement. Let me see. Let me jump around a little bit more.
2937.22, I believe it's C3, the character, physical, and mental condition of the defendant or the accused. That's an issue.
I believe that the witness indicated that his opinion was that the act was intentional.
Right. And in making that opinion about whether or not it's intentional, you need to know the mindset or the mens rea of the person that you're claiming intended to do this. Was he in his right mind? That's relevant with respect to your bond determination.
Shout out to his attorney for pushing the plea for insanity thing, or the mental illness thing, because if it was one of them that did, well, if it was any other person, they would have thrown in the insanity thing or mental illness thing with no hesitation. So shout out to his attorney for, and I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw his attorney, I thought that was Nick Fury. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I thought that was Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, just with both set of eyes.
And the objection.
Rodney Hinton is.
All right, so there's that right there, and the rest is just a rehashing. So we're pretty much done with that. Let's move on to the next part right here, and this one is kind of like it's on the, let me see if I can find one. Okay, it's probably not. Okay, so this one right here is talking about the $25 million federal lawsuit that Rodney Hinton's team is filing because of the detention court appearance. Basically saying, like, again, how he looked and like he wasn't all the way there. And now they're basically saying, like, we know you're upset with what my loved one did, but at the same time, he deserves to have a true day in court as far as his appearance and him being in his right state of mind. We can clearly tell that he was not all the way there. He could barely stand still. He was constantly fidgeting. He looked like he was in pain. He looked like he wanted to go to sleep. Shout out to the fundraiser for being a member for 1 month on the channel. I appreciate it. He said that they got all these police officers there who's stopping crime. All that intimidation does nothing. Exactly. And shout out to you. And Ruben, you said his name is Clyde Bennett. Okay, I read his name, but I couldn't remember his face. So we're going to play this little small clip right here This was posted on Monday and it was updated yesterday. So let's see what they're talking about on here.
We are following new developments in the case of the man who was accused of intentionally running over and killing a Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy.
Attorneys for Rodney Hinton Jr. have filed a federal lawsuit claiming that his civil rights were violated. Hinton was arrested after investigators say he targeted Deputy Larry Henderson after seeing police body cam video of the fatal officer-involved shooting of his son, Ryan Hinton. He is now suing the Cincinnati Police Department, Hamilton County Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey, and others over his arrest, court appearance, and treatment in jail. The suit claims that Hinton appeared visibly beaten during his arraignment. He appeared in court for the first.
Like, just look at the imagery here, y'all. From left to right. I have never seen that before. I have never seen that before. And you're right, Miss Niece. He probably was hopped up on painkillers. Like, you know, when you have all those painkillers after being in an accident, like you saw his car, you're going through it, and your body needs to be in a stationary position where you're resting. Imagine taking those painkillers, especially since a lot of those painkillers that he was on most likely are only administered in a hospital. Like, you can't buy them over the counter. That's how powerful those drugs are. He was supposed to be resting. But they was like, nope, I don't care how much pain he's in. I don't care how drugged up and out of his mind he may be. Get him in this courtroom today. I don't care if you have to drag him in here by his feet. He will be in here. I don't care if we have to lean him up against the podium to make him stand. Get him here. What's going on, Hugh, for the $5? And I believe that's in Canadian currency. I appreciate it. He said, what's up, Torian? I just recently found your channel and I'm binging your videos. Well, I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the journey and stay and remain subscribed, because trust, we got a lot more to discuss, but I appreciate you and glad that you were here. Don P, I knew somebody was going to point that out. I wasn't going to say anything, but I know that my audience is very observant. I mean, she does stick out like a sore thumb, though. And she's on the far left of the screen. So it's easy to point her out. I think I only see the only black people I think that's in here right here is this woman right here. This guy standing behind the glass who looks like a spectator. You have Rodney, of course. You have this black woman right here who was right behind Rodney. Then I don't know where his attorney is. I don't see him in this picture. Then you have this guy right here. And I think that's about, oh, and this black guy sitting right here. So the black people really stand out in this picture. I'm telling you, y'all, this is only, and just like Damon said, this is only the beginning. This is just court appearances before the judge. This is, imagine what the trial is going to look like. I just want y'all to understand. Imagine what the trial is going to look like. That's what that's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't wrap my mind around it. When I first saw this, I said, why is the whole department there? I'm trying not to laugh because this is a serious topic, but I can't help what Iron Will just said, because now I can't unsee it. Iron Will says she looks like Pinky from Next Friday. I can't unsee it now because of the hair. I really can't. Oh man, all she would need is the juice, and like, you know how Pinky, his Jerry curl was all moisturizing. You know, he shakes it one good time. He looks like he emptied out a whole bottle of Soul Glow in his head. But yeah, this picture is like, when I first saw this, I said, wait a minute, is that protocol for the whole department to be there? And I said, that can't be, because I've seen plenty of videos like this before, and it's never that many there. Of course, you'll have some, but I mean, think about it. From one end of the room all the way to the other end. And then it's so many of them, some of them had to stand behind other people.
First time the day after he was accused of hitting Deputy Henderson. Hinton's vehicle struck a pole and he was taken to the hospital. The suit is seeking $25 million in damages. The sheriff's office and police department have not commented on the lawsuit.
All right, so that's it right there. They probably looking at that saying, I didn't repeat this black woman right here. I didn't even see her right here. They must have just, when they just pivoted the camera. So we got a black woman right here, right next to the camera. I saw that too, Church. Now, this was when it was just them inside the room. It was, as you can see, if you look in the back, there's nobody there except for that one person that was standing behind the glass. But that was at another time. So that's one of the more recent updates that said that they're filing a $25 million federal lawsuit because of how he appeared in court. I don't know how that's going to go, but imagine if it does go their way, they're going to find something else to be mad about. So let's see what this story right here is talking about. It says man charged in death of Hamilton County deputy enters not guilty plea on new charges. So let's see what these new charges allegedly are. And shout out to the 214 in the chat. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the like button and also donate to Rodney Hinton Jr.'s Give Send Go that is pinned at the top of the chat.
Deputy went in front of a judge who will oversee the death penalty case.
So Rodney Hinton.
So they are going to try to seek it. Let me rewind it. I want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Deputy went in front of a judge who will oversee the death penalty case.
So Rodney Hinton Jr. is charged with murdering Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson. Today's courtroom security was very high, 2 checkpoints, but no incidents.
And WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick was there for the hearing before heading out to the Pete Rose breaking news.
This is State of Ohio versus Rodney L. Hinton.
For Rodney Hinton Jr., new charges.
We respond to the indictment. We responded with a not guilty plea.
Could give him a new address. This one on death row.
And it is what is called a special felony. And it carries with it the possibility of the death penalty.
For the first time, Hinton faced a judge who will play a key role in whether he lives or dies, Judge Jody Lubers. He was arraigned on charges of aggravated murder, and felonious assault. He only spoke to answer just a few basic questions.
Mr. Defendant, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
And are you under the influence of alcohol or any drugs?
No.
Hinton is accused of running down and killing Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson, who was directing traffic at the UC graduation. Police say the day before, Hinton's son was armed and running from the scene of a stolen car. He was shot to death by a Cincinnati police officer. Prosecutors say defense attorney Clyde Bennett says Hinton just now appears to be coming out of the episode.
Can you say that you think he's shown remorse over this then?
I can't say that. I don't think he's still in his right frame of mind to even know what happened. But he's getting better.
Hinton is being held with no bond, facing a potential penalty where there is no cell.
And again, that was Brian Hamrick reporting. February is the target month for the trial to begin. There's a hearing next Thursday for both sides to get.
Wait, let me hear that part again.
And again, that was Brian Hamrick reporting. February is the target month for the trial.
Okay, so you just heard that. They're trying to set the trial for this in February of next year. So February, y'all, is the target date or month that they're looking for to do, ironically in Black History Month, for them to kickstart this trial.
To begin.
So we're going to try to make sure we keep an eye on that. Because it's only May 14th. It's a lot of year left. Anything can happen. Think about it. We're going to have Carmelo Anthony whenever that trial is going to happen. And then we're going to have this one. Yeah, that was the arraignment, brother, man. That was not the trial. They're not even close to a trial yet. They got to gather all the information first before they do that. So February is the month that they're looking for doing the trial.
There's a hearing next Thursday for both sides to get together to see if they can reach that date together.
All right, so you have that right there. I'm not even going to play this next video because that's more of a rehashing And I don't have to play this next video because y'all just basically got a summary of it in that one. But I did want to play this because I find it very, very interesting. In this video, I'm sure many of you have seen, but in case you have not, and this was recent, there was this incident where you had this cop right here dealing with this belligerent PC man, and he decided that he was going to point his firearm at the police car. And I want y'all to see what this cop did. And you'll notice the stark difference between what this cop did and what the cop did in the case of Ryan Hinton.
Watch him pull an AR-15 on the highway patrol.
A driver pulled over for speeding pointed a rifle at a highway patrol officer yesterday. CHP says it happened just north of Reading on I-5. An officer stopped a vehicle on the Mountain Gate off-ramp. A patrol officer yesterday. CHP says it happened. A driver pulled over for speeding pointed a rifle at a highway patrol officer yesterday. CHP says it happened just north of Reading on I-5. An officer stopped a vehicle on the Mountain Gate off-ramp. The driver, they say, got out of the car, pointed the AR-style assault rifle toward the officer. Officials say the suspect re-entered his vehicle and then they started pursuit. Vehicle continued southbound, driving at varying speeds before exiting the freeway at Oasis, continuing for about 2 miles west before stopping near Vigil Court. The suspect taken into custody, booked into Shasta County Jail.
Let me look that up because let me see. Shasta County Jail. Reading, California. And it obvious and it clear and it says Reading right there on the screen, but I didn't know what that was. Let's see. And let me pull it up because this, like I said, this just happened, y'all. This just happened. It just happened. This is it right here. Hold on. Suspect ID'd after AR-15 incident with CHP officers faces 6 felony charges. It happened on May 8th, 2025, and it was updated May 12th, 2025, which was 2 days ago. This is him right here. Let me read it. The Shasta County District Attorney's Office announced that 6 felony charges have been filed against Jeffrey Dean Bembry, that's his name, who was identified as the suspect in the incident where an AR-15 rifle was pointed at California Highway Patrol officers on Tuesday during a traffic stop. The incident occurred on Tuesday, May 6th, when Bembry was stopped for speeding on the Mountain Gate off-ramp. According to the CHP, get this off my screen, Bembry exited his vehicle and pointed an AR-style assault rifle at the officer conducting the stop before fleeing the scene. Now, look at the stark difference between what this guy did, y'all just saw it in the video, and what they did to Ryan Hinton. And this happened around the same time. Don P said Reading is redneck country. Scoop said nothing up there but male monsters and backwoods. And of course, you know, lamestream media ain't going to talk about it. Now, see, here's the thing. If I could not have connected this story somehow to this live, this would have been a Operation Protect the White Boy waiting to happen. If this was a separate video, this was definitely going to be Operation Protect the White Boy for sure. Hands down. This guy had an AR. He had an AR weapon. He gets pulled over for something he's doing because he was speeding. And he gets out of his car, and what does he do? Oh, you're not going to pull me over and give me a ticket for doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. So what am I going to do? Get out, point my firearm at you. But guess what the cop does? Oh, I'm just going to back up. I mean, he hit the pedal on that reverse and backed up fast. And he gets back in his car and drives away, and they do a 2-mile pursuit, and they arrest him. Now, if you look at his mugshot, it doesn't look like he was roughed up. His face looks clear. It looks like they barely touched him. This right here could not have come out at a worse time when they're trying to paint Ryan Hinton in the light that they are. But if they can bury it, that'll work for them. Exactly, Temple Face, no scars. See, Terry said not a scratch on him. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm going to show y'all one more video, and I'm sure y'all saw this one as well. And this right here would be another qualifier for Operation Protect the White Boy. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen this video, or maybe you haven't. Before I even press play, do y'all recognize this? Two boys managed to surround the entire police force, and I believe they're age 7 and 9.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it, Sean! Go ahead and put it down for me, okay? You're not in trouble, but you have to drop that and come talk to us, all right?
If there's a magazine inside the magazine well, but they're playing with the gun back and forth. The one in the blue is trying to take it from the one in the orange.
Put it down, baby. Just drop it, buddy. Put it down, babe. You're okay. Put it down.
And now the kid
I mean, listen to how they're talking to them. And like someone said, poor Tamir Rice. He literally died in what I would consider to be a drive-by.
Can you put it down, babe?
The sooner you put that down, the sooner we can take you home. We go see your mom.
Sean, this isn't a game no more. We're not playing a game right now. This is serious.
10:30 speaking with 254.
Can you put it down for me? Now Sean has it. Sean, can you just toss it to the side, babe? Let's make this easy. Because we want to help you. We want to help you.
I mean, even look at how he's holding it. Look at even how he's holding it.
Put it down, Sean. I really don't want to fucking put a kid right now. We don't want to help you. We want to help you, okay? Put it down, baby.
40 going out. 40, 40, 40.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it, Sean! Drop it now. Drop it, both of you. I don't even have a gun. I don't have a gun.
Okay, so that's pretty much that. Now, you see how they dealt with them? You saw how they dealt with them. Now, like I said, what happened in Tamir Rice, and the reason why I'm also mentioning Tamir Rice is because that happened in Ohio, but that was in Cleveland. John Crawford also lost his life the same year as Tamir Rice in that Walmart in the same city and state, Cleveland, Ohio. Now I'm going to show y'all one last thing, because this actually just came out today, about 2 hours before I went live, because a person decided that they was going to make a statement about this. Who, you might be wondering? A political figure who holds a rather significantly high position. Your Vice President, J.D. Vance, decided he was going to throw his hat into the ring and say that the officer who killed Ryan Hinton was totally justified. The VP also blamed Deputy Larry Henderson's death on American leaders who have, quote, made our police officers out to be enemies. Trump is too busy allowing and opening the floodgates for white South Africans to come in here. And by the way, speaking of that, that's going to be an upcoming live that I have. That's going to be, I think, on Monday. So be on the lookout for that. Vice President J.D. Vance commented on the deaths of Ryan Hinton and Deputy Larry Henderson during a National Police Week, go figures, but breakfast hosted by the VP. The Wednesday event was attended by state and local law enforcement officers. Vance brought up the water falling event of Ryan Hinton's shooting death by a CBD officer, which was followed by Rodney Hinton Jr. allegedly running over and killing retired Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson. In a speech made before the attendees of the National Police Week breakfast, Vance said the story of Henderson's death is worth telling in full because it's worth appreciating exactly what happened. I actually first heard about this from my wife, our lovely second lady, who told me that, a few weeks ago, I guess a man was killed by a police officer, Vance said in reference to the shooting death of 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. The police officer the body cam footage showed was totally justified. He was doing his job and keeping the people of Cincinnati safe. The bilateral investigation into Ryan Hinton's death is still ongoing. I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit and continue on with whatever JD Vance is saying. It says Vance then commented on the alleged actions of Ryan Hinton's father's Rodney after he witnessed the body cam footage of his son's death. And the gentleman who was killed, his father started to hate police because of it, Vance said of Rodney Hinton Jr. And maybe he already hated police before. How would you know that, JD? Did you have a conversation with this man? He said, but he decided he wanted to take revenge on police, not even on an officer who took the life of his son, but on a totally different police officer, just the exact revenge against the police in that area of the country, which of course is my hometown. Vance goes on to refer to Hinton Jr. as a, quote, bloodthirsty criminal. And what happened is a police officer who had just actually retired but returned to special duty in the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. He was helping people at the University of Cincinnati when he was mowed down by a bloodthirsty criminal who exacted revenge for something a police officer was actually legally entitled to do. During his speech, Vance laid blame on unnamed American leaders for Henderson's death. When I think about why that senseless crime happened, obviously you've got to place blame on the guy who committed the crime. But I also think a lot of the blame falls on American leadership who for too long had made our police officers out to be enemies. I want y'all to pay attention to what JD Vance is doing right here. He's saying stuff like that because it's dog whistle language. He's trying to plant this seed of our police officers are in so much danger from these savages, or as he called Rodney Hinton Jr. a bloodthirsty criminal. And ironically, he couldn't wait to throw that comment onto a black man. He probably wanted to say something else. If I could read minds, I can just about guess what he said in his head. But they're going to try to give them more protection, as if they don't have enough immunity already under the title of qualified. They're going to try to give them more protection. He says, so no, from the president on down, the administration stands behind you guys. We love you guys. We know that you're out there doing a good job for us. And I think that moral leadership matters just as much as the public policy. But from this administration, you're, of course, going to get both. And that's pretty much it from JD Vance. So that is pretty much all of the videos, all the articles right there. I'm going to drop the link right here in the chat for people to come on and speak. I'm going to probably only keep it on until about 9 o'clock. So I have to put the timer on because there is another commentary that I do want to record after I'm done with this. Sheesh. Oh, y'all came in heavy. My goodness, 3 of y'all came in all at pretty much the same time. All right. First up, we got Wallow. What's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on in the chat? I send my condolences to the loss of life in this situation, but JD Vance, let me come here, sir. Let me holler at you.
You know what? Let me hold on. Let me pause it right, like Paul, not you for what you said, but I'm gonna give y'all some extra time because I know y'all got a lot to say, and y'all probably don't want to. Hold on. Let me adjust my my timer right quick, and I'm gonna give y'all an extra. Let me see, like maybe like an extra minute. Let me adjust right quick and get. Damn, I can't get this thing right. Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So you trying to dog whistle? You need to focus on what's going on in Washington. Don't be focused on what's going on in Ohio. You got people, you got friends. Stay your ass in Washington where nobody needs to hear from you, because we don't hear from you like that, sir. I do feel bad because it's like for him, he had to witness his son in his last moments go through what he went through, and he crashed out. This is probably one of the biggest crash outs of the year. And who could blame him? And from what I've seen some. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know about y'all, but on some of on my Facebook, my personal page, I've seen some white folks say, I understand why he did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, y'all. I mean, you get. It's happened so many times, and these cops don't get reprimanded for it. What do you think was going to happen? This was eventually going to happen. As messed up as that sounds, this is eventually what was going to happen. And those cops trying to intimidate him didn't work because it's like y'all came here for me, really? Y'all ain't ish. But I'm gonna go ahead and land my plane there because it's some more stuff I would say. I'm not gonna jeopardize your channel. B1 Torian.
B1. Oh yes, Nini, I am serious about the timer. Like I said, I want to be off here by 9 o'clock, so that's why I'm installing the timer today. But I already knew this was going to be a long live stream because it was a lot to unpack. All right, so next up we got Denzemus. What's going on? Denzemus, if you're talking, you gotta unmute. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. So yeah, this situation, oh my goodness. I'm not surprised. Like Wallow J said, it was only a matter of time. You can't keep oppressing people and doing these type of deviltry acts and not expect any consequences. But one of the things I wanted to say is, you said something earlier about how the video was blurry. Yes, they do that. I know a cop, and he's told me personally that those cameras, and not just their body cameras, but like the traffic cameras and stuff. Those cameras are some of the most. Those cameras are some of the best. They're better than anything that we can possibly get. Those things can. You probably, some of y'all in the chat probably know, they can read your license plate from a mile away. They can freaking track bullets when they were shot and the angles and stuff that they were shot from. So they definitely do that stuff on purpose. They just don't want the public to know how good their technology is. Another thing I want to say is, as TVA always says, you have to watch out for them old N words. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say much about this sorry ass fool. Like, the only thing we can just do with their asses is just hope that they die out. But yeah, just hopefully they die out. I will say I am happy that our generation isn't the forgiving type as much, though. And as far as those cops being in the elevator, yeah, they were definitely planning something. They were planning something, and it just shows you with the elevator scene and them in a courtroom standing with like 50 cops. It's like, you really think you gonna scare a man after you done took his whole world? Like, do you really think that's going to intimidate him? If anything, you practically ensured he's going to keep well, of course, they killed his son, so he doesn't really give a shit. But he's practically insured. They practically insured his mentality now, and it just shows you, like, you need all those cops for one guy. Like, how much of a pussy can y'all be? This is just like, how pussyfied can y'all be where y'all need that many cops for one man? And this is why they don't want they don't want fathers in the home, because that man right there is an example of that shit can happen to their asses more and more if our fathers are in the home more and more, which, I think our fathers are in the home for the most part, but it's just white supremacist propaganda. But yeah, hopefully this man gets off, and hopefully we keep an eye on him, because they are not going to stop trying to come for him at all. And and one more thing, I think that they put the trial date on February. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks for coming up, Denzemus. And Wallow J was all getting all agitated in the chat. I told y'all got one. I gave y'all an extra minute. That's why it seemed like it took forever to get to the buzzer. But Wallow's probably cracking up in this chat right now. All right, next up we got Mr. Williams. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I didn't watch too much of the stream, but I kind of knew what you was gonna be talking about. But just I've seen so much of it, I was kind of burned out. But I don't know. I don't know if you've been hearing about, and
Are you still there?
Yeah, my phone black. I'm gonna have to probably download the actual app. I've yet to do that because it starts to black out. But anyway, how people been saying, according to witnesses, he wasn't even driving. So this may have just been an accident, and literally just an accident, and they happened to see he was in the car and like, oh, and nobody seen traffic cameras or nothing because apparently there was no traffic cameras to actually see anybody driving a car to actually show that the whole route they said he was taking, that he was driving. It's nothing. One brother, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Taylor's Publishing House.
I heard of him.
Yeah, he's been keeping up on it. I know he said something on how when you usually see an accident, they show everything, the ambulance, the fire trucks and all that. Nothing. It's like literally nothing. It's just you just pretty much see the car and that's it. I'm just like, I didn't even think of that. So hopefully when all this is said and done, that comes out because if he wasn't driving and they try to pin this on this man, then that's just gonna be another reason to hate them and the justice system, because it's very exhausting to see this. That's why I had to take a break this week from any more watching it. But yeah, and JD Vance. Yeah. But the January 6th riders were Patriots. Okay. All right, man. But I ain't got to say on that. All right, y'all. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. All right. Thanks, Mr. Williams, for coming up. All right. Next up, we got, hold on. Next up, we got Church. What's going on?
How you doing, Torian? How's your day going?
It's going good.
Blessings to you, man. Just a few things. I can't stand a forgive Negro. I just can't. And you watch your son, because I from my understanding of the situation, I read an article on in one of my lives. The family was shown the tape. The father left. They had to bring the father back to get his car. That's how mad this dude was, or something like that, right? This is a clear case of literally just a crime of passion. If there was ever a definition, this would be the definition of the crime of passion. And there was this dude in New York who unalived an officer, and they tried to give him a murder charge. And I think he got off. He didn't really get off. They got him on a lesser charge because they could not prove that it was a murder because he had the same issue. His son was killed by an officer and he unalived the officer or something like that. He got manslaughter. So that's where I'm thinking that this is going to go. Lastly, real quick, word on the street is they're not releasing the officer's name because of the fact that the officer who did it has a rap sheet 10 miles long. The name I haven't gotten any confirmation on it yet, but the name that they're saying that actually did the officer that did it is a man named C.M. McGraw from the Cincinnati PD. And if that's true, they're definitely holding his name back because of his rap sheet. You have never ever seen an issue like this where there's a unaliving and the police officer's name is being held. You've never really seen that. We've seen other people like Daniel Penny for a minute, you get me, but law enforcement, they tend to come out and they tend to tell you the officer's name that was involved. So I'm highly skeptical of this whole situation. I'm pretty sure the officer was in the wrong and they are trying to protect that officer. But I'll land there, family. Thank you for having me up.
I appreciate it. No problem. Hey, Jesse, I would let you come up and speak, Jesse, but I already said there was only 3 more people left. I don't know if you saw it, but I just typed it in the chat because I'm trying to get this thing done at least by, it's going to be a little bit after 9, but I'm trying to, all right, I appreciate you. All right, let's see. Next up, we got AW1. What's going on?
What's going on, Torian? Yeah, JD Vance, this Two-Face this salesman, this con artist dude. Before he was just a closet racist. Now he's just an open racist. That's all it is. And for him to say, I mean, and but the points I think people are missing. Bad officers need to be held accountable. When is that going to happen? Why do you want to keep protecting these bad officers? We just want the bad ones to go to prison. Not all of them, just the bad ones. But they want to protect them. To make our lives not be worth anything. You know, why do you think they do that, Torian?
That blue wall. What's that? I mean, think about it. They wanted the current commander and whatever you want to call him said last year.
Oh, they got us protecting those refugees?
That they wanted to that they wanted to give them more protection, more immunity.
After he wanted to close the door on that stuff, and now he wants to do it. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's just the hypocrisy is so real. We know why he's doing it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, I'm gonna land on there. Keep up the good work, Torian.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, Jesse, definitely be around for when I do my next live. My next live is going to be on Friday, and it's not going to be as heavy as today's topic is. All right, next up we got Jonathan. What's going on?
What's up, Torian?
What's going on? Thanks for getting to a quiet location.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to. As soon as I heard my name, I was like, "Let me get to this quiet location." So what I have to say about this is kudos to that dad. Even now, I'm gonna be honest. It was kind of messed up because the cop didn't have nothing to do with it. But at the same time, I can see why he did what he did because these cops are getting away with too much. And I think when people be forgiving and, you know what I'm saying, you know, turning the other cheek, I don't think they forgive because they meant it. I think some of these black families only forgive because of fear. Like they fear if they retaliate or if they say something even bad to the police that it's going to get worse and might, you know, go after their family some more. I mean, who knows? But that dad, he said, "Nah, I'm not one of them folks that's gonna forgive. I'm not turning up the cheek. It's an eye for an eye." And I'm gonna have to like praise him on that. I'm just a little disappointed that it was a cop that had nothing to do with it. That was the only disappointing part. But other than that, he did something that we all wish we could have done, and take out the cops that, you know, take out our kids. And it goes for any racist white person that go after our children or anyone from our kind. So, yeah, it's and then the news that you showed us with the white guy pointing the gun at police and those two white kids, 7 and 9. Are they really 7 and 9 years old?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But 12-year-old Tamir Rice points a fake gun and then he gets shot automatically. See, that's the double standard that we live in America. That's the hypocrisy we got going on with these demons. So I'm gonna go ahead and let my plane before I get busted and I get more upset. And I just got to the gym and I want to blow off steam.
All right. Appreciate you coming up.
Appreciate you.
All right, shout out to Jonathan for coming up. Y'all be y'all be going in on Jonathan when he be at the gym. Especially Wallow. Wallow be petty in that chat. And there's somebody else in here too that be doing it too. I can't think of it, but Wallow stay going in. All right, so the last person that we got coming up for the night is Buzzercam. What's going on? Buzzercam, you just muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, what's up, Torian? Sorry, I didn't watch your live today. I had some schedule issue today, and I had some things to watch other than this. So I'm watching this in the way bail next time.
Okay.
Okay, and another thing, today's I don't know if it's just the right date, but today is the 3-year anniversary of that massacre that happened. You know what happened? I'll give you a hint. The elderly people that look like us. Yeah, it's been 3 years since it's happened. There's still no consensus of what's going on. Just give you a heads up on that. Remind you today. Another thing, have you heard the story about a man who was probably in the military who got mortgaged by the prank that happened? Shot this kid and shot this kid because he thought he'd probably be getting robbed or something, or to find out it was the prank gone wrong, and he got charged for murder because of that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. I have a video coming up about that, and like that's messed. That's messed up what they're doing to that guy, and even and not only with arresting him but charging him with what they charge him with. I'm like, you going to come and going to bang on this guy's door at 3 a.m. and not his front door but his back door, which means you had to go through his backyard to get back there. Anyone would think that you're trying to break in. Like I would think that anybody naturally would think that someone's trying to break into their home if they someone's going to bang on their door like that. But yeah, I have a video coming up about that.
Yeah,
probably
next week. Yeah, you waste up a game between super prize. That's on them. I cannot feel bad with feel bad that he got killed, but Price because Frank's guy sure anyway. They've been doing that for a while, probably the last 10 years, this type of break, but now they doing it in all different ways, especially on TikTok shoes. Yeah, get out of here. But that's all I have to say. I'll talk to you another time, okay?
I appreciate you coming up.
Okay, you.
All right, shout out to Buzzer Cam, and the Buzzer Cam was the last person to come up and speak. Again, the next time I go live will be on Friday. Like I said, Friday is going to be a more not laid back stream, but it's not going to be a heavy stream like today's. It's probably not even going to be a long stream either. And I may or may not have the timer, but for the sake of time, because it's like 9 o'clock and I don't want to be on here all night, I had to install the timer. But first, before we get up out of here, shout out to everybody who came through and, stayed through for this entire live. If you missed the live, make sure you catch the replay again. Make sure y'all hit the link at the top. That is the Gifts and Go for Rodney Hinton Jr. That's the official one, started by his sister. They already met their goal. Their goal was, I think, $20,000, and they already surpassed. They already more than doubled it. Shout out to Church for being a member. Shout out to Dana for the super chat fundraiser for being a member. Hugh, Jazz, and R. Starworth. Oh, I didn't even get to acknowledge R. Starworth 5. Shout out to you. He said this man needs to be celebrated on Father's Day. I'm almost certain that he is. He about to go into the Father's Day Hall of Fame. But shout out to everyone who contributed. If I got any cash apps, shout out to you as well. We will have 2 videos tomorrow. No live tomorrow. Again, the next live will be on Friday. I'm going to put those premiere windows up after I shut this live down. But with that being said, y'all go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening. I think Afro is live right now, if I'm not mistaken. So go ahead and head over there right now and see what he's talking about, which I'm sure he's talking about something very informative. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe, and most importantly, be one.